Today on the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast, we are discussing Loki, Season 2, Episode 5, Science/Fiction.
Right after this. Welcome to the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast. My name is Matthew Carroll.
Sorry. And I'm Jeff Randall.
I'm Ashley Coffin.
Oh my God, you guys!
Yeah.
Hang on. Let me turn my headphones down before we... There you go.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah, you need to turn... Everybody turn your volume
headphones
down, because I am about to lose my mind.
Yeah, tell us, Jeff. What did you think of this
episode? This episode was so crazy! Excuse me. This episode... Okay, like, I leapt off of the furniture that I was sitting on. I gave a solid WTF at the end of the episode because I was like, how dare you? How dare you end it right there when, like, we got it. We got everything. Like, he's a superhero. We got the team back together. Like, we went through such just, like, potentially heart-wrenching implications. And, like, Loki doesn't seem to be affected by the spaghettification of the entire multiverse.
Yeah.
And you're going to end it? Right there!
It's kind of the funny thing about having them come out at a certain time and watching it at a certain time, because I don't usually ever do that.
Right.
Yeah.
And so and our clock is right below the TV, so I'm just like up, down, up, down. I was like, uh-oh.
You're like, oh no. Oh no. I was riveted. I couldn't look at anything else.
Yeah.
Like, at the very beginning, I was like, I should probably switch the laundry over. And then it was just like, the laundry doesn't exist. Nothing in my home exists right now. I am starving. Nothing exists. There is no food. There is only Loki and the discussion of it.
Mm-hmm. That's how I feel every time we get on here. All there is the MCU while we're here. So yeah, the multiverse is really falling apart, and like I'm confused because I feel like this is exactly what we're heading towards with like Secret Wars and all of that, and Kang Dynasty. All of that seems like this is exactly the problem that the incursions cause this stuff and the spaghettification of the universe. But what
the hell?
Yeah, what the hell? Like, what is it? What are we going to do? Are we going to stop it from happening? I can't imagine that's how the season ends, because then what's the rest of that what's going to happen then? But I agree, like, it's a really cool setup, and I feel like we're getting ready for the final battle. The team's together. He has his powers. He has jumped back to the moment. He found the pens in the mug. He, like, is back there with all the people, and I'm guessing it's right when Victor's about to walk out the door, so he probably even has Victor back. OB was looking down the little shaft as he was right before Victor spaghettified. So, like, but him walking out there doesn't stop it. So what does stop it?
He won't get spaghettified now, right?
Well, that's the look of it.
He can do it now.
That's the look of it. It looked like Loki, like, because he was removed from the timeline, like pulled out of the loom, it looks like he is not affected by that anymore. And now that the loom has blown up, it's like now he's time slipping around for unknown reasons, but it seems like he's unaffected by the spaghettification.
And Sylvie is unaffected by being dropped back in a life or whatever. Like everyone else
Sylvie is unaffected by
wants.
Emotions.
Yeah, she's like, I'm cool. I know Daryl over here. I have bourbon.
Oh my God, that scene in the record store was beautiful.
I know.
So
all of
beautiful.
the spaghetti, or the untangling. I don't know. What are we going to call it? What are we going to dime it?
It's spaghettification.
But it's beautiful spaghetti. It almost looked like the paint world in Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah,
but just like more defined and cooler. Like when they got the guy at the record store and all that was left with his little eyeballs, I was like, that was sick.
That was sick. I knew it. I was like, Ashley's going to love that. Ashley's going to love that shot specifically.
Put a circle around that note.
Yeah. Golly,
I loved, though,
so cool.
The camera orientation in that scene where, like, she sits back, leans her head back, starts the music, and then, like, the camera follows, or, like, is her perspective and shifts as she sits up to where, like, it's not looking down, it's looking behind her, and you see everything unraveling, and it follows the record spinning and, like, does the rotation around with it. So, like, beautifully shot.
She's listening to the Velvet Underground. Venus Universe is like my theme song. That wasn't that
Nice.
song, but I love the Velvet Underground. It fit perfectly.
Yeah, it really did. Did you guys see the McDonald's bag get
Yeah, on our
spaghettified
truck.
early
Yep.
on? Yeah, it was pretty great. It was pretty great and subtle enough to be missed. And it's just like an early one, I don't know if there was
Yeah.
any before that.
She
but that was
kind of
really cool.
noticed. She was like,
Yeah, she looked back
but
like,
then he came
"Where's
out
my
of the
food?"
box. Yeah, like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
but I'm hungry.
that is such a great thing because you do that. Like you think you brought something with you, then you realize you didn't, or like you left your
Constantly.
keys
Dude.
somewhere else, or like
Constant.
now for the
That's-
rest of my life when something like that happens, I'm gonna be
Yep.
like,
It's not ADHD, it's the spaghettification.
Yeah,
Well, everyone used to say
spaghettification's happening.
glitch in the matrix, and now we're going to say the spaghettification.
yeah.
Didn't I come in here with this?
It's interesting because it's not much different than like dusting, but the visual is so different.
Oh,
Unraveling. That's
Unraveling's
what I
good.
wanted to call it. The unraveling.
Yeah,
the unraveling of the multiverse.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I have like
it's good.
time questions for you guys because I have like some questions.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
But
So-
I don't know that I have any answers.
I have all the answers.
You're gonna
Come
do
on.
okay. So if Loki slips into a point where he's already there, like he did a couple times, and he like talked
Yep.
to himself. So there's 2 Lokis, but now that he has his Super Scroll Loki power, he can not. It's just one.
He seems to be able to jump. Well, it's sometimes there's 2, but like the only time
Okay.
there's 2 is when he re-interacts with a time he's already been in. But I do assume that him going back to the cup with the pins, that moment before this Victor Timely unravels, I do think that he will likely not have a second him there.
Okay. The
I
second him
think.
was with Mobius at the house looking at the jet skis, and when he did it again, I'm like, I am so confused.
Yeah,
Like, but if he was already at the past at the end with Obi before taking everything back,
Mhm.
there's only going to be 1, or there's going to be 2.
it seems like once he learns to control it, because he uses the TemPad to get where he can see Mobius, and
Yeah.
when it's bouncing around in time, he intersects himself. But it seems like once he can control it, he can not only travel to different places, but he can travel to different points in his own timeline.
Okay.
Like he's on
Yeah.
the couch, he jumps back to the couch, and he's like, "Wait, I did it, I'm back." And then he
Right.
does it again, and he's back to where he was in the end of last episode.
Yeah, so it's less a like jumping to a point. It's less like season 1 TVA where you're just walking through a door onto the timeline. Hello, timeline. I'm here now. You're welcome. It's more like a like, oh God, that Ashton Kutcher joint, the butterfly effect.
Yeah.
It's like the butterfly effect where he goes back into his own body, or Days of Future Past.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of time travel.
It may be that. I don't.
I guess we'll find out in the next. There's only one more. Oh,
my God! There's only one more episode.
They can use it however they want, though, because they can still have him lose his powers or like jump unintentionally wherever they want, or they could make him jump and move through space and time and not to an original timeline if they want to. Just like OB says. Do we ever get OB's name?
it
Yes.
was on the book. I can't remember.
Oh, crap.
Doug.
Okay.
AD Doug was his name.
AD Doug.
AD Doug.
That's funny.
Alpha Delta Doug.
That's funny.
Yeah.
His name is ADD.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good.
Wonder what's his middle name? Is it Howard?
Is it Howard the Doug?
That's another great joke, but no, I was going for ADHD.
Oh, I see.
I stink at acronyms.
Howard the Doug.
Oh no.
There we go. There we are. He had a wife.
Had
Yeah,
Had.
He lost his wife over the last year and a half.
him and who was
So-
what was Mobius's name? They both got divorced in their
Mhm.
Don.
timelines. Don and Doug. What's with the D's?
Couple of D's.
Couple of dudes.
It's interesting because I really felt for those characters, and when they're dying, I mean, like when he's like, "I have to go back to see my kids," and then he gets unraveled, and then like Hunter B-15 is just freaking out. And she's like, "Is this it? Is this the moment? Like, is this it? We're done?"
Yeah.
And like,
God.
and then it's just so he builds a team, and it kind of reminds me of like we talk about what Kang's doing, where he's built like, or we're assuming Kang's doing to some degree, at least I am, that like he built Victor Timely just to use as a spare part.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, that's kind of what all this ended up being. Like he went and got all these characters and they've lived their whole lives, and then they all perish, and he's like, so that he can learn to use his powers correctly and be able to jump back into his life when they needs to.
It's pretty dark.
It's pretty dark. It's pretty dark.
They're just means to an end.
And when they're all unraveled and he's just grabbing at the strands.
Oh, he's grasping it. Oh, God.
It's terrible.
And
terrible.
That part is what made me think, like, he seems unaffected.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think you're totally right. That's a really good call. That's how he can swap places with Victor and just run out there and do it, because he doesn't face the spaghettification.
So Mobius was right. Loki's really going to have to hoof it.
Yeah.
Yep. He's right this whole time.
It was him under that mask.
I guess everybody can finally be happy we saw him on a jet ski. It might not be the way I wanted to see him on a jet ski because it wasn't real, but it was, he was still very happy.
I feel like it might be
he was a salesman?
That maybe we'll see him further on a jet ski later.
Yeah. That'll be like, there'll be a montage at the end of the series, or at the end of the next episode, I guess, that is like, here's everybody, happy in their lives again. And he's just going to be like on the water with, somebody's going to be on the other jet ski with him. Is
Loki.
it going to be Miss Minutes in her new body?
I don't want that for Mobius. Ravonna. Miss Minutes,
I feel
she's
it's gotta
evil.
be Loki.
Or is it Loki?
This whole thing's like a love story between Loki and Mobius.
It's like, you gotta try it,
And I love that he was trying to sell B-15 on it. Just like,
that's what you do.
He's like, there's financing options.
Just so you know, I got financing options if you need them.
live on a river, it could be a fun way to commute.
I thought for sure that we were going to get a connection when we found out Hunter B-15 was in New York. In 2012. I was like, and the kid was getting her arm bandaged up. I thought for sure she'd like gotten her arm hurt in the Battle of New York or something.
Like,
They're
this
just
is
messing with us.
This is a kid that obviously was around some rubble falling or something, or was running away and broke her arm falling. Nope, climbed a tree.
Yeah. What about that? When we watched the trailer, we talked about how they showed that tube man in front of
and
we
he was
talked
doing
about
the dance.
Hey, that's kind of what time slipping looks like. And then they just like legitimately did it right there.
And he came back in like basically silhouetted by it.
Yeah, exactly.
His arms out exactly perfectly.
Yeah, it was really fun.
We opened the show with an immediate hair flip, and he can time jump as many times as he wants, as long as he just keeps doing that.
Yeah, he keeps doing the hair flip. I feel like his
hair... Did he do it now that he could master it? Because I won't like that as much.
Yeah, now he's
Does
just
he just come through powerful and smooth?
He doesn't can control it.
Did he?
I don't know.
No, he was sitting.
So quick.
He was just sitting, and then he was just standing.
No, at the end when he popped back to Obi.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, when he popped back to Obi, he was just standing looking down.
Oh, boo.
Unfortunate.
So he's butterfly affecting. That's really funny. It's a good reference for it. I like it. When it jumped back to show Casey's for the first time, like Casey's story, I saw the circular white light of the spotlight moving across the wall, and I immediately thought it was Miss Minutes because it was the first one we'd seen, and there was just like a circle going across the back of the wall. I was like, oh, Miss Minutes is here.
What an odd storyline for them to pick one of the three guys who actually escaped from Alcatraz. Like, who was like, what would be funny in the writer's room?
Yeah.
Of all the things, and then we're going to make him like this thief.
Yeah.
I didn't take the temp pad.
Frank. Good old
Frank. What did you... So when we see the TVA and it's all unraveling.
Ugh.
So crazy.
Cool. It's like, thank you for your service.
Yeah, well, it says fail-safe mode initiated. Is that what happened last episode? Did we already have that message, the fail-safe mode, or was that new?
I don't know.
No, that was new.
Okay. So I'm guessing after whatever explosion happened in the loom, the fail-safe mode kicked in. And the thank you for your service pops up. That was dark. Because you just imagine.
Oh, I love it.
It's like built for when it's time. Failsafe mode is whatever plan that's been enacted with the TVA book in the window and all that stuff. And I love that, like, oh gosh, that book gets passed on to OB, who then uses his own book to learn how to build a temp pad. It's just fun.
It's so fun.
It's fun, timey-wimey fun.
It's easier timey-wimey fun that I can get behind.
Yeah.
So I do write a bestseller.
My favorite part of that was when he zapped Loki, and then for a second, Loki's like, "I'm gonna zap him back," because that's definitely some energy.
He looks at it, he's like,
okay, I'm growing. Every
growing
episode, just more and more growth. He's gonna get his coin at the end of this. Like
he's gonna get his coin. Oh, that's so good. I love the callbacks though. Like that one was like, it feels like that was a callback to Tony Stark zapping Bruce Banner and being like, huh? Anything?
That's what all scientists do, right? That's the first. What did he say? He was like, I had to get my PhD so that I could write my book in science, jibber jabber.
Oh yeah, I had to get my PhD so that I could be a professor of theoretical physics at Caltech. Yeah, I gotta keep the lights on.
Well, that's what I need. I loved what that led to. I loved the freaking like conversation about science and fiction and what it means, and like it's just so freaking meta. It's the kind of stuff we talk about every week on this show, like how stories work. We also often talk about how the science works and how if it makes sense, and like the what and the how. And they say what and the how is what science deals with, and the and then
fiction deals with why.
Like that is so cool and true, and I love it. It encapsulates so much of what we do on this podcast network, like talking about like the ins and outs of how what's happening in the universe, but then like we talk about the why and like the motivations, and that's what's meaningful. And it's just such a cool way to talk about it.
Well, because that why and the further implications and shockwave felt drives more why and further story.
Yeah,
like that's the beauty of this interconnectivity that is in the MCU.
Absolutely.
All of these things are affected, especially by such a grand story as Loki is doing. Like, this has potential to rock everything in a big way.
So the loom not weaving properly has caused all the timelines to just sort of crash into each other, which is causing incursion after incursion after incursion, which is causing this like unraveling of all the branch timelines and all the universes. So like, I guess this is kind of what will happen if that continues to go on in the multiverse saga. So maybe if he undoes this one, then we see kind of like this is setting up what it looks like when that happens in the future. You know what I mean? Like we're seeing what a universe being unraveled is really like, and we're watching the pain of that. And then in the future, when we see that threat, like this will give us the context to know what we're talking about, you know?
Yeah.
So is that what the plan is, that it's going to happen again in the future no matter what? Because it can?
Well, no, not necessarily, but we just know that like Secret Wars is coming. They've talked about incursions in 4 or 5 different properties.
Right.
Like they see, and we've seen incursions and how like the time manipulation can cause a universe to dissipate. The dissipation that's happening in Multiverse of Madness is not that dissimilar from what we're seeing here.
Right.
Like I think that is all connected, and sort of like seeing the unraveling of a universe and seeing it portrayed so well and so emotionally, and watching Sylvie disappear, because I wasn't sure that Sylvie was going to disappear, because she is so much like Loki. She also remembered what was going on. She also she was like him. So when everyone else is disappearing, I was like, okay, it's just gonna be the two of them left with the world falling down around them, and then she disappears, and it like made my heart hurt for him. Like, oh gosh, it really did, because
because she didn't get extracted from the loom or through the loom. Like she continued existing on the timeline, on a timeline. And sorry. It all hit me all at once. They are all variants, right? They are all in branched timelines. It's the branches that are dying. The branches are unraveling, leaving the sacred timeline. What if that was He Who Remains? His entire plan was to ensure that things go and happen exactly the way that he wants them to, such that it all collapses back into the sacred timeline and like reestablishes itself. And that's the failsafe mode.
Right. That is very possible. And it seems true, except I do think that like part of his plan seems to be that like, at least the way he described it in the finale of last season, is that like the multiverse will be open and there will be a multiversal war, and we haven't seen that yet.
Right.
And then, you know, given the rumors and information that's being spread around this week in Variety and like the articles that are being written, which we will talk about more on Monday, I'm sure.
I didn't want to read it, to be honest, but if that's
well, yeah, we can discuss or not discuss depending. But there's a bunch of stuff going around about like all these kind of the Marvel failsafe that's going on with like what they were thinking about doing. Apparently, they were considering swapping out Kang before the Jonathan Majors troubles started, like before his legal troubles got initiated.
Sure, they were.
Yeah, well, it was because Quantum Mania did so poorly. Apparently.
Oh, okay.
Is what I heard. I've been hearing things all day. I haven't had time to go like discover all the rules and like or all the things that people were talking about. Read all the articles yet.
Discover all the rules.
I don't know what I was talking about.
You're still in fantasy draft mode.
Yeah, I am. What did you think about they started the episode and I thought this was weird. I thought we were going to get something with this. I thought maybe it was going to end with this being referenced, but the whole show started with the last time on. The first thing we see is that line from Kang saying, "I paved the road. I like led you down it." Right?
Yeah.
I thought that for sure. We've been talking about it all season that we think that might be what's happening is that like all of this is part of his plan to reboot the multiverse and that it's all been paved from here.
Exactly what I'm saying.
He's trolling us.
He's trolling us. He laid out the groundwork.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't planning for Loki to be plucked out, though.
Or was he? Is Loki the very instrument?
Well, no, I think that Loki being kicked through the time door by Sylvie was not something that he was expecting. Because he set it up so that the two of them could show up together and then take over. And when she was like, nah, boots him out and then kills He Who Remains, that offsets him and throws a wrench in the plans, because that's what started him time slipping through the TVA, which is supposed to not be possible.
Yeah.
True.
You very well may be right. Or that is all part of his plan, and he knew that like he would need a Loki to be able to time slip back to this moment to save the multiverse. You know what I mean?
He knew Sylvie would kill him. I think.
Maybe.
I think he was pretty sure.
Yeah. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what he want. Like, I don't think he knew. Like, I think literally, like, that's the whole point of that scene is that he doesn't know what's happening next. He doesn't know who's going to choose what. And when he's watching, I think it's pretty clear. But, like, I don't know, man. Yeah. I don't know about Loki. Like, where is the level of control? How do they break the cycle? Is Loki going to be able to break the cycle? Maybe these new controlled powers and the love that he has for his friends will be the X factor that Kang wasn't counting on, because Kang doesn't believe in partners. He doesn't believe in friends. Loki is someone who's always wanted people to care about. He's just always felt inferior, and now he's gotten over himself. He's reaching out for connection. He's made to make these like connections and friends with all these people, and it's like, is that I don't know, is that like the thing that Kang couldn't have planned for or whatever?
Probably. Because we have a very different Loki now from the one who, jumped through that door.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And everybody just underestimates him, Lokis are bound to lose.
Lokis are bound to
destined to lose.
Fated to lose.
I was more heartbroken for him in the bar with Sylvie. I'm like, man, she's just not that into you. She's like, good luck. I thought she was going to be like, I wanted her to be like, we could just stay here together. That's like what I wanted her to say.
Let them go home and let's stay here.
Yeah. When she bought him a drink, I was like, maybe there is something here still. Like, maybe there's a chance. But she was just telling him, like,
there's a chance.
You need to get over yourself and stop pulling these people back into your fight,
Yeah.
Oh, God. She broke him down. Like, no. What is really the reason? Like, dig down, find out, unearth, it's that you're selfish and you want friends.
You're selfish.
Yeah.
You're selfish.
Well, it's that you're just alone. And really, like, she's it's kind of a dark take, but she's saying, like, everyone is just selfish and all the good that you're trying to do. So, and he says it to OB, like, I have to save the timeline. Oh, you're asking me why? Because this evil force is coming for the universe and I must stop it. It was basically that same old glorious purpose shit. And then he says, well, if that's your real why, then this should be working. And it's like OB has such a good way of like saying something without saying it, like, then that's not really your why. And then Sylvie hits it harder with like, no, why do you really want to do it?
Because it's a who problem.
Yeah.
And that's what he says. Like, it's not what, it's not how, it's not why, it's who. And it's like these people that he cares about are going to help him save the universe.
Like, as he was saying, like, it's not a what, it's not a why. I'm like, come on. Like, it's coming, man. Like, spaghetti, we saw it happening. You get the words out. We gotta go. He was taking way too long to deliver that line. He was being way too dramatic.
It's hard for him. That's not his normal thing. But it's funny that like he's been slowly taking on traits of like Thor throughout this entire thing. Like Thor was always like, we're gonna we're gonna go take the fight to them kind of thing.
Well,
and now he's got his friends.
He's been saying that though. His whole thing has been like, it's almost like he's been pretending to be Thor. This whole thing when he's saying like, no, I'm a hero. We have to save the universe. But then he has to admit to himself, like, I just don't want to be alone.
Yeah.
Like, that's all this is. It's all this is. All these motivations.
All it's ever been.
It is. And that's, that can be a corruptible thing in a person. If all they care about is not being alone, that can lead them down dark paths. And it has for Loki. You know what I kind of love the idea of? Like, Loki wanted to serve in the way that Kang asked him to at the end of the series. So we keep talking about what if Kang shows up and he's like paved the road and like, what is Loki going to be able to break the cycle? Blah, blah, blah. What if Loki doesn't want to?
Yeah.
Like Loki wanted to stay at the end of time and take on the job. He kind of wanted to do what Kang said. And then in this, like, he may unwittingly help Kang. And what if we get to the end of this series and we completely identify with Loki? He wants to be with his friends. He has so much more depth as a character, but he swears fealty to Kang because he's like, yes, you paved the road. You guided me down this path. And at the end of this path, I saved the universe. My brother can do all he wants with his axe, but I'm the one who saved all of the multiverse. And I have you to thank for that. And I serve Kang because his view of having the sacred timeline is important. And he wants to put it back. And we end up with like this completely complex Loki, but it's still the Loki that's serving the big bad.
I feel like that would be a huge slap in the face.
Yeah, it would.
I feel like Kang's going to just pull the Ant-Man thing and he's just going to be like, oh, you're not going to do what I want? Well, I'm going to have kill all your friends. And then he's going to have to do whatever he says.
That team over there?
That's
you
a
think
good
yeah,
point.
I'm just going to put them in this little box thing and you have 10 minutes to do it.
Well, that's exactly right. Like, that's exactly what I'm saying. It's so corruptible. If all you care about is one thing, then you are, like, by very nature, you're very corruptible. Like, you might be led
look
down.
What Scott did.
Yeah. That's why you shouldn't have kids.
Oh, the worst.
Don't have kids. They can be used against you. That's the lesson I learned from Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Yeah. I liked Sylvie sitting there with the bourbon just saying, we're all writing our own stories now.
Mm-hmm.
I did it. And she's just taking shots.
Yeah. I work at McDonald's.
Yeah.
Content.
There's an interesting thing that I looked up. Honestly, I was prompted by a message in the Twitch chat. There was a point in comics where Loki became like the god of stories, or like he's the great storyteller, and like he can rewrite reality, sort of. But it seems like that was leading up to the events of Secret Wars with like all of the incursions and everything. So I wonder if this is following that same sort of path.
Yeah, definitely could be.
It's possible.
Interesting way to go.
Even if they don't like call him the god of storytelling, I think that's like a big part of what's happening here. He's definitely like, I don't know. him and Sylvie together are like learning about how you build the story of the universe. Man, I'm really enjoying this theory of like Loki and like if Sylvie could have a reason to, like, she realizes she, as you kept saying, Ashley, she did this. She caused all this by making that decision. What if she also realizes that like he who remains was right? Or as Jeff called him, he who is remains is right. Called him that last night on the cast. Very good, Jeff.
I mean, that's more accurate now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't really remain anywhere right now.
I mean, he's in that chair and he's not moving. You know, Loki not being affected by the spaghettification kind of makes him he who remains.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that was the trick. He's like, gotcha anyway, now you're me.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's
like
just a mantle.
What if that's like his power, and like at some point Kang like decides to reboot the universe, hits a big button, and like everything's unraveling, or even just the TVA is unraveling, and he's left standing there. Kind of reminds me of how he like attacked attacked Thanos or something. Like, it's just very like trickster Loki. I like it.
Well, even you saying him doing fealty to Kang, like the first thing I thought is he's gonna try to do something and get himself killed again. Like killed.
Yeah. Try to. Well, I think what would maybe happen is he serves Kang, and then we have like the last half of the multiverse saga is him being like a lieutenant of Kang's, and he comes back as like this character that we really care about, but he's a lieutenant of Kang's, and then like in the last moments he turns and becomes like God Emperor Loki and runs the Secret Wars or whatever.
Ooh, God Emperor Loki would be great.
Yeah, I would dig it. Hey, let's take a quick break, and after this, we're going to do some feedback from the chat and see what all you guys are saying out there in the live reaction on Twitch. So we'll be right back. And we're back. Live reaction for Loki season 2, episode 5. Let's see what people are saying in the chat.
I have a quick theory before we do that.
Oh yeah, do it, man.
What if Loki is the new He Who Remains and has simply followed the exact same steps that He Who Remains used, and like plucked himself or got himself plucked out of the timeline, same way that Loki did with the tether, and like Loki going to the loom and doing the work is going to pave the way for Victor Timely to pluck himself out of the time stream or the timeline in some way to become He Who Remains. Like, it's a new version. It's that same Kang old thing. Same old Kang, where he just puts things in place to reinvent himself and make a better version of himself. It just takes the destruction of the multiverse to do it.
Yeah, and he's fine with that.
Yeah, totally fine.
Could be. Yeah, like if, and it just goes to all of those theories that Loki might just be also a cog. Like we've been talking about Victor Timely being a cog in the machine that Kang is building. Like Loki, all this season might just be more systems of control, more just controlling where everyone's going. And then them starting this episode with that flashback of I paved the road. I thought we were going to end this episode with him being like, I told you, I paved the road. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You were right. Because Loki's been pretty sure about it.
Oh man, it might have been even better though if he had like rewound himself all the way back to that moment when he and Sylvie were standing in the office, like with him across the desk, with He Who Remains across the desk, and then just have him hit that realization of like, you saw it. You saw it, didn't you?
Because he could go all the way back.
Yeah, theoretically, he could go all the way back.
Yeah, if possibly, because he says like it's the Who, right? And so like he's in the middle of all those strands, and all his friends just disappeared. And it's like the thing he's searching for is those friends. And then he pops back to the previous time they were all together in that one room. And then he uses, I guess he can somehow sense the temporal aura around him, and he goes back to the previous time they were all together. He basically does what the TemPad was supposed to do. Basically,
Right.
Loki is a TemPad. It's like how Stormbreaker can call on the Bifrost. He can now do the TemPad thing.
Yeah.
Sure.
It just happens to you if you hang out at the TVA too long, I guess.
His
Yeah.
hair flip is a TemPad.
Oh, that's what
His
did
hair
it.
flip
That's
is
what
a TemPad.
you do it fast enough and you activate.
Yeah.
Yeah, he flips his hair and that like tears open a hole in space time, and he just
You
walks
have to
through
do
it.
the car man
closes.
dance.
I'm just thinking about the cloak, like Cloak from Cloak and Dagger, like
Yep.
how you can teleport people, but it's like with a hair flip, you can go through time and space. Like,
Yeah, I need you to stand very still. If I don't get all of you with this, like you could show up without an arm.
yeah, you gotta
Flip.
be careful. Gotta be careful.
His poor neck. That's how old I am. I watch him do that and I'm like, ow.
Ow. Man, like in the beginning of the episode, I found myself laughing a lot because it was like he kept skipping through those scenes and like he would show up for a couple of seconds and then disappear, and I was like, did they just show up on set and it's like, all right, you're bouncing through this one, so flop around.
Yeah, totally.
All right, cool. Let's go. Lunch. We got
Walk
it.
around through the hallways alone. Look back. Look concerned. Yeah.
right, we're
Making
done
movies
here.
is funny.
I love how short of a loop they put at the beginning of the episode, where it's like we see him see himself looking through the TVA book, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, that's gonna be that's gonna come back.
Yeah.
And then it comes back like 30 seconds later.
Yeah,
I
that's
was
gonna
like,
come
good.
back.
Move this along
Yeah.
because I knew I was kind of like when they started doing what I said I didn't want was them to do the first episode all over again.
Yeah.
So when
Yeah.
they kind of started doing it, I was like, uh-oh. But then
Yeah.
they made it really funny because they did my favorite thing. It's where they set you up, you think everything's going to be fine, they get everybody together, and then they make you think that it's not going to work because everyone started unraveling. But then they brought it back in the last 5 minutes and saved everybody again. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And then
Feels
damn
like
you.
My emotions.
very
Yeah.
whiplashy.
When they started unraveling, I was like, okay, we're getting serious now.
Yeah.
They didn't just fix it, which is usually what happens when you're in these end episodes is they fix these things
Yeah.
to move the story forward, but they acted like they didn't. I appreciated it.
Yeah. It was really good. And yeah, this episode started, I kind of didn't like it. Like I just wasn't that interested in these variants. Like I was like, okay, it's cool because I don't even know what the deal is. Like I don't know if these are their lives. Like are these variants, are these their lives, or are these the variants they would have been that they got pruned for? Like did Mobius get pruned when he got a divorce or when he had kids or something? Like what was this? Like I don't understand that.
Did he save the marriage and that was the branch?
Yeah.
Do you know how America Chavez says that you dream about your other realities or whatever, like
Yeah.
everything that you dream of yourself? I wonder if that's like Mobius was always thinking about jet skis. 'Cause,
Dreaming
like,
of
how
jet
would you even
skis.
know about them or have that like manual or whatever if
Yeah.
you didn't dream about knowing things about jet skis? And you wake up, you're like, wow, I know a lot about jet skis from
Wow.
that dream.
Yeah.
But that was just like, and then
That's
B-15
possible.
always wanted to be what do you call children doctors?
Pediatrician.
I was like a pediologist. What are they? Children things. Maybe that was a dream she's always had, and that was her reality. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
When the little things that they have
It's-
connecting. I'm ready for big things, Marvel, but like the little things, I see you.
Mhm.
I see
I
you,
see
Marvel.
you, girl.
Okay, let's run through a few feedbacks
right.
before we head out of here. Court OB says, so my big question is, was that everyone's origin point, or they put them there to pick up on the future, and by who? Loki? I think so. So yeah, I think she's saying is like all these variants that we meet this episode, the versions of them on the timeline. Is this the actual them? Which is what I'm kind of asking. Is this the actual them, or is this them being dropped into timelines? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
is this the variants from the TVA are just being shoved into random timelines and like sort of given lives on the timeline? Or is this their actual branches? I'm leaning toward this is their actual branches. Like, this is who they
I
are.
think so. If it wasn't for the jet ski thing, I would think it wasn't, but there's too much of a weird connection there.
It flipped around, right? Like with each one that he went to, it showed like the year, the place, and whether or not it was a branch timeline. And I'm fairly certain that all of the ones he went to were branch timelines.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
they
were.
said branched.
Yeah, so like,
Aren't they all branch timelines now?
Well, I mean, the trunk is the sacred timeline.
Yeah.
Guess.
Well, I think the sacred timeline is the timeline that goes to Kang's plan. And so the only time we've seen them travel to the sacred timeline was in that first episode when they take the book. Or second episode.
Okay.
So I think that once that book was deposited in that thing, like everything's branching from that point on. Because the
that
sacred
book being
timeline
deposited made a branch there.
Right. Well, and that's because in the sacred timeline, Victor Timely was supposed to just live and die in that time and not have the powers and stuff that he had.
Maybe.
I don't know. It seems like. Well, then
unknown.
The book wouldn't have branched the timeline then. If it was if he always had the book, if he always had all that knowledge,
sure,
it wouldn't be what branched the timeline.
But like, what I mean is like, should that kid have even been there? Because like, or was that He Who Remains depositing him in the timeline as a child?
I think
and saying live there.
My theory is that he deposited him there on the sacred timeline as like a failsafe, basically. He's there, and then when the failsafe happens, Miss Minutes leads Ravonna to drop the book, and that's what creates the branch that creates the Victor that we know.
Yep.
Sure.
It hurts.
It does.
I was like, I didn't even care about that anymore, and now we're back, and I can't stop. I'm like, wait a minute,
can't stop thinking about it. I wonder what are all these people's nexus events that cause these branch timelines that are centered on these people that would have caused them to be taken out as variants. Like, was Mobius supposed to stay married? Like, was the divorce the nexus event?
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. J.N. Norty says, now that Loki can control his time slipping, will he stop He Who Remains from being killed? Not really sure how else they stop the destruction of the TVA.
Oh, man. Okay. Is it time for predictions?
Well, first we should answer the question.
Well, no, because I have a good solution for this.
Yeah. Feel free.
He goes back to when Victor Timely spaghettifies, and he can't fix it. He can't solve it. He can't save everybody there, and he goes over and over again, trying different iterations, kind of like
Dormammu,
Edge of Tomorrow, and Dormammu kind of situation, just over and over again.
Right.
In that one moment, and then goes, no, this can't be the moment then. If I can't save it here, I have to go farther back. And then he goes back to He Who Remains.
That's what I want to happen.
And stops it there.
Yeah, I think that could be really cool, but I just don't think they want to stop him from dying. Because then the multiverse saga doesn't happen, right?
Maybe.
We got to keep the movies coming.
He may try to go further back and stop Sylvie. Maybe Sylvie has to get on board for that to happen. I don't know. Like Sylvie has to agree not to kill him or whatever, because he needs their temporal aura to go back and find them again or whatever.
He takes Sylvie with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm worried he's going to use her against him big time.
Sylvie on Sylvie. Like it's a Sylvie versus Sylvie showdown while Loki runs over to He Who Remains like, we're getting you out of here.
That's possible. It's possible. Or they just have to go back there and have that same conversation again. Like have that same argument. Like he takes them both in the same kind of time travel back there. Yeah, I don't know. It's possible, but I don't think that'll be the end result of this season. Maybe in the future. Maybe that'll happen in the future. But I kind of think that this whole show is going to be like teaching us how Kang works, how the time travel works, how the TVA works, so that from here we jump off into the multiverse saga and we really get lots of these stories crossing over into the multiverse.
I'm ready for the crossovers.
Like, I wonder if we'll see like things in the movies, like if in the Marvels we see something unravel in the background, like how cool would that be?
Like, but then wouldn't it be too late, or it was happening during? I don't know. If things start unraveling, it's already too late, right?
Well, not necessarily.
No, why not?
You could stop it, I guess. I don't know. You could stop it. Some things have unraveled, but not everything. Maybe I don't know. I don't know.
It just seemed like anything that unraveled, it was pretty quick. Everything else was not too far behind.
Well, No, because we have like things like that McDonald's wrapper unraveled, and it was just
the McDonald's bag and drink.
It didn't take too much longer for the rest of the planet to go, though,
Sure,
or the rest of the area.
Yeah, I agree. But then, it could have been that things have been unraveling for weeks, though. You know,
it unraveled right there, and then she went to drive away. Like she drove to, or no, she went to the bar with Loki. Got drinks. Loki went away. She went to her record store, and then everything caught up to her. So like it took a little bit, but like in the scope of the universe, like the whole universe took however long it took. The universe is big, guys.
It's also the thing of like, if a universe unravels, we've talked about this kind of thing a lot, but like if the entire universe exists, is it just that moment that the universe unravels at that moment, or is the entire timeline unraveling throughout all of time? Like, are different points in time all experiencing this unraveling, or is it only that moment in the 80s McDonald's or whatever?
So, God, the unraveling of the multiverse like this, right? Of these branches unraveling, it's like a nylon cord that you've snipped and it's starting to fray. You got to burn the end of it and fuse it together.
Yeah.
And that's what the loom and the TVA is all about. They're cutting those branches. They're burning it together to keep it into a single cord.
To make sure it doesn't continue to fray. I like it.
Yeah. It'd be cool if it was happening everywhere, because then you would have characters who are powerful enough to like notice it. Like Spider-Man would get like, why do I keep getting this weird tingle? There's nothing going on. Every time Loki would reset it.
Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good.
Yeah, but then it just goes away and you're like, wait, no, I guess I'm okay. I don't know what that was. And it just happens again and again. And you're like, I don't know. Or like a Charles Xavier, like there'd be powerful people, like even maybe Doctor Strange, I don't know, who'd be like, something is happening. We got to go find them.
Yeah. Oh, God. I bet Doctor Strange would he would absolutely notice, but he would also be the one to be like, no, something's wrong. Let's, Juan, get the books. We got to do some research.
Well, he's with Clea.
Yeah, he is with Clea. Oh, that's right.
Stopping an incursion.
Stopping or fixing incursions that he caused?
Yeah. She didn't say that specifically, but I would assume it's usually
she said,
fault.
you made some incursions happen. We got to go fix it.
Yeah.
Like, you're coming with me to fix it. And he was like,
funny.
Third
Absolutely.
eye.
Anything that you want, milady. You know, I'd follow her.
Yeah.
I know.
Marvel Fan 62 says, Red String Theory. What if everything is just a loop and Loki and his team created the TVA? OB/Doug's room is the exact same as his TVA as well. If this is true, then it will keep on looping over and over, and Kang will keep taking over the TVA, and the agents' minds keep getting erased. It was all Kang's plan, and it will keep happening over and over again. Yeah, I definitely think that's very possible. I was wondering if that room was the same room. It definitely had the same vibe.
It looked the same, but I was like, how is he affording rent here? Like, that place was huge.
Yeah, he said there's nothing for miles around.
Yeah, I'm like, where are you?
It was abandoned.
It's like an abandoned warehouse.
Yeah, he said it was abandoned. There's nothing for miles around. It was kind of the same situation that Dr. Jane Foster had with the gas station in the first Thor. Where,
that place was nice.
Yeah, that place was super nice for like an astrophysicist to just be hanging out.
Well, do PhD astrophysicist science people like them? I guess they make money.
Do they?
They're doctors, right? If you have a DR
it just depends
or
on
PhD.
the kind of doctors.
Ask Dr. Kyle Berkeley about that. He'll let him tell you how he is struggling to survive.
I understand.
Why are you called Dr. Kyle Berkeley like that?
Well, no, he said, like, okay, so we had a conversation on one of his posts about...
What's he a doctor of? Is it science?
He's in therapy. He's a doctor of psychology, I believe, or social work. I'm not sure. There's a particular exam that's required in the state of Maryland for advancing his career, and he is has been unable to pass it like 10 times or something like that. And it's a ridiculous exam. Like, he's a doctor and he should be able to do the work, but he still is like held back at entry-level pay because he can't pass this one exam, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So like, just because doctor is in front of the name doesn't necessarily mean that you make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Now, if you're an MD, that's different.
Yeah, medical doctor. There's a difference between the doctor of whatever and medical doctor. But like, Even medical doctors don't all make crazy money.
Oh, there he is in the chat. Mental health therapist / social worker, LCSWC exam under the ASWB. A lot of acronyms there. I don't know exactly what it is, but I watched a proceeding of the Maryland State Senate, I believe, that he had sent me, which was like really eye-opening to how shitty that situation is.
Yeah.
Sorry to bring it all down.
All good, man.
I always just think of science doctors. You know what lies beneath with Harrison Ford and Michelle Pfeiffer? They have that beautiful, huge lake house, often being a science doctor. So I think, I don't know. I have to find some science doctors.
But you also have like waitresses living in humongous apartments in Friends or whatever. Like TV and movies put every character in like beautiful homes because people like to shoot movies in beautiful homes. So like, yeah. Okay. Dr. Kyle Berkeley says, I have a theory. If Loki helps save the timelines, they're going to give Loki the ending he had at the end of the Axis storyline, where Loki was finally worthy to lift Mjolnir, but Thor and everyone else won't believe him and say it's another trick or lie. Ooh. Why you gotta make it so dark? I just want a happy ending for my boy.
I think Thor would be just as happy if he saw him do it. He'd be like, finally, I can trust you.
Yeah, it would be a really cool thing if we saw Loki catch Mjolnir at some point.
He gets to meet his little niece. Oh,
yeah. Oh, yeah. Uncle Loki.
And she's so powerful. He'll teach her so much stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Uncle Loki.
That's the next iteration. Uncle Loki.
Waterfall Angel says, I'm calling his new time slipping mental time slipping since it's just his brain traveling. Oh, yeah. I like that. Yeah. Just his brain traveling back to his body.
That's that whole thing is like, if you get a magic lamp and the genie gives you 3 wishes, don't ask for like an object to do the thing. Just ask for those powers. Like giving, like there being an object just makes it so that you can be separated from those powers, you know, given the right circumstances. Like, nah,
for sure.
The power is innate. That's all I need. Thanks.
Unlimited power.
Unlimited power. We got a first-time chatter on Twitch. Casey Heed, maybe I'm saying your name right, loved OB saying it only took him 19 months to create a new temp pad. However, unfortunate that his wife left him. Yeah.
Well, like he can go back.
He sure can and fix it.
To the moment that he started working on it and just like, that's why his wife left, because he came back and took her away. Like, this guy needs some time. He needs a minute. Like,
that's a good way to think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a perfectly fine.
They're in Maui.
Yeah.
Whatever. He can't go back. He's spaghetti now.
Oh.
I am the spaghetti now. AM Potts
I'm spaghetti now.
Says... Red String Theory, what if this is the final season? Loki steps in for Victor Timely, saves the loom, but doesn't get back in time, and then monuments are built at the TVA in his honor, but Victor Timely evolves into a bad Kang, and no one knows outside of those in the room that Loki is a hero. I hate this idea, but what if? Man, that'd be rough.
I don't think Tom Hiddleston's done yet with the character, so I'm going to hope that that's not what happens.
Yeah, and I really do think Marvel is looking to hold on to the people that are willing to continue working, that have connections to Infinity Saga, that it makes sense to continue, like Loki, Doctor Strange. I think they're going to like really try to use those characters. Thor, Banner, like really bring them back up.
Especially the super popular ones that are going to draw a crowd.
Yeah. I think part of why it's been hard, I don't know, it's such a hard balance. And it's the challenge of this phase of Marvel, this like passing of the torch from the original 6 Avengers, and then Endgame happens. And it's like, a lot of them are 2 of them are gone. And then you just have to like, do you make shows and movies where you're passing the torch, which seems to make sense, but then the new person never learns to stand on their own in the audience's eyes, you know?
Right.
So you have to I think you just have to make great movies starring these new characters and like make us love that character, which is what they've been trying to do. Like they've been introducing these characters in their own properties, and then they're going to cross them over. But it's just it's taking too long, and it's making us it's undervaluing all these new characters.
Yeah,
we can't let go.
Yeah. Alex 24M says, if Loki is rewriting everything, does that make him he who remains in a way? Yeah, he said something very similar.
Yeah,
him just having the power he has sort of makes him a he who remains.
Yep.
Jay Sisson, but my buddy from Multiverse News says, this show needed to make us care about the other timelines. They nailed that this week. They showed us what happens when timelines dissolve, and it's horrifying and emotional. This show doesn't miss. I agree.
I'm going to call Loki he who remains hot. That's going to be his name.
I dig it.
100%. Man, Jay's right though. Like, whenever, oh God, it was Brad. Brad said it. Where was Brad? No, anyway, Brad said it that like the timelines, all these branches are just lines on a screen. Like until you actually go down there and see the lives that are being lived, you don't care about them. Like it's easy to just prune a branch because it doesn't matter to you. You don't know anybody there. Like you don't realize the lives that you're taking away. And so them going through all of these branch timelines and like giving us these like good, solid, compelling characters really makes us care about these branches. Like, no, let the multiverse happen. Yeah. Let her be a doctor.
Yeah, 100%.
Where is Brad? Now that you bring that up.
Yeah.
Because he didn't go with Ravonna.
No. Well, no,
he's just running around there still?
He pruned Ravonna, and then he lost the enchantment, and that's the last time we saw him. So the people that we've seen scattered around the timeline were people that were in the room when the room exploded. No, I get that.
I'm just saying, where is he right now? Could he have done something that made nothing, like, I don't know.
Well, it seemed like everybody went back to their lives. Is he on the sacred timeline as... Because, oh, no! Sylvie's radio!
The video game.
Or the video game, Zaniac.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Like
exactly.
Zaniac, like exists in the world, so he didn't get pruned. So like, yeah,
that's cute.
That's where Brad is. Like that's really cool. It's really cool. They gave us, even if we never see Brad again, we got this resolution that Brad got to go back and be Zaniac because the property exists for them to have made a video game out of.
Very funny.
That's fun. I love that.
Oh man, Marvel.
Dada 948 said Zaniac who remains.
Alex24M says, would Loki have a third season? We are all thinking this is going to get solved next week, but what happens if it doesn't? I am not thinking it's going to get solved next week at all.
Not one bit. That would have to be a 3-hour episode. It'd have to be a movie. I don't know. They couldn't.
I think we're getting some sort of resolution to the season. Like this
I don't think it'll be a cliffhanger.
No. Well, I mean, maybe in the sense that like last season was a cliffhanger. Last season was a cliffhanger, but it also like had a beautiful resolution to it. You know, it was almost like a Twilight Zone at the episode at the end. You know what I mean?
I'm so ugly.
Something on the plane, on the wing. Yeah. So I think it'll have something like that.
In that it concluded that story kind of, but also blew everything wide open for anything to happen.
Exactly.
And I think that's what they're going to continue to do after this next episode.
Yeah.
Who do we think we're going to see? Any appearances? Matt and I were talking about it the last episode. We were thinking maybe Deadpool. Like, who do you do you think we're going to get any cameos from anybody, Jeff?
Oh, shit. Deadpool's a good one because he just shows up wherever he feels like it.
I can't remember who wrote in about that, but I liked it. I hope that happens.
He shows up anywhere. He has his own TemPad currently, basically.
Uh-huh.
Oh, he does, yeah.
What if he shows up like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
Loki, what are you doing?
Who's doing this?
There have been rumors that some TVA agents will appear in the Deadpool 3 movie. So, like...
That's fun.
Like, I don't know, if that's coming, like, it would definitely be a crossover. And it's one of the next movies, and we've been talking about how they're not doing a good job of, like, teasing the next thing in the Marvel movies. So, like, it'd be great. I would love it.
Not a single end credit scene.
There's been one.
Yeah?
At the beginning.
Okay.
Today, there was something at the end.
I was in the other room, and I heard it, too, and I came out like, hello?
Yeah, at the very end of the actual credits, like
what was it?
Normally they save it was just the Zaniac video game again.
Oh, okay.
It was the Zaniac video game yelling something. I didn't catch what
Ken
it was.
went down in the basement to get the laundry, and I was in the other room, and I just heard like, I was like,
yeah,
it's happening.
It was just the Zaniac
They're
video
coming
game
for me.
like,
I don't know what it was. Yeah, it freaked me out.
I don't know what he said though. If anybody did hear what he said, write it in the chat.
It's funny how quick I go to it's a ghost.
It is like right after Samhain, so like it makes sense, right? The veil still kind of thin.
Mm-hmm. Very thin.
Earth Knight 2 Chris says, I thought the kids were going to be Wanda's kids when I first saw them. In comics, their souls are reincarnated in other families, and I thought we were getting our way back to the story for Wiccan and Speed.
No, we just had a couple of shithead kids.
It was Kevin for Kevin Feige, obviously.
Kevin
what was
and
the other
Sean.
one?
Yeah.
For Sean Gunn.
Sean Gunn?
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
okay.
probably.
That's cute.
Spark Sam says what he yells, Zaniac yells, "You died, loser. Insert your coin."
That's funny.
That's why I was like, it sounded like somebody talking.
Yeah. You know who makes the most sense as a cameo right now? Uatu.
Oh, for sure.
I said that too, but I remember when we were talking about, like, where's the Watcher during all this?
Yeah. He's just watching.
Spark Sam also says season ends with them being the Guardians of the Multiverse and start recruiting. That'd be interesting because that's what we got from, were they called the Guardians of the Multiverse in What If?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He called them the Guardians of the Multiverse very specifically.
Yeah. What if Loki joined the Guardians of the Multiverse?
Uatu's such a freaking nerd.
Like brothers.
Uatu
I'm a Guardian of the Galaxy. Or Asgards of the Galaxy. It's been a long time since I saw that.
Asgardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah. Asgards of the Galaxy. That's all our feedback I see in the chat. Any other thoughts about this episode, guys, before we get off
Not
this
about
reaction?
this episode, but about something that Ashley said, triggering another thought.
Yeah. That's what we
were at Dragon Con several years ago, and there were, like, I was behind a couple of ladies that were dressed in like derby outfits, like roller derby outfits, and one had a gold helmet on with horns coming out of it, and it said "Ass Guardian."
Yes.
And I was
like, I keep that in the back of my mind 24/7.
Yeah, I have a picture somewhere. Like, it's in probably Google. It might be in Facebook. I'm not sure. But I have a picture of the back of them with, like, I think one was the Hulk, something related to the Hulk, and then the other one was Ass Guardian. Like,
that's
ASS
awesome.
Guardian.
That's so clever.
I was like, I love it. Picture.
People are just so goddamn creative.
Yeah.
That's what going to any con or just watching the YouTube videos of people's costumes. It's just amazing.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. I love the derby names too. Just in general, all the derby names are fun. My niece is playing roller derby now.
Oh yeah,
yeah. She's only like 3 weeks in and didn't.
It's not like
skate.
a thing up here.
It's not really a thing here either, but like there is like a little community of derby people, and I guess they're starting youth leagues to sort of like build out the sport a little bit, and it's pretty cool.
Start them when they're young.
Yeah, got to.
It's funny.
All right, guys. Well, we will be back on Tuesday for an episode about what all you're saying, and we'll probably talk a little news too, because there's lots of that swimming around. So we'll be back soon. Peace.
Until next time, true believers.
Bye.
Hey, you just listened to the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast from Stranded Panda. I really hope you liked it. Let me just say a big thank you to all of our supporters on patreon.com/MCUcast. You are the lifeblood of our little operation here, and a huge thank you to our insanely generous Illuminati tier patrons, Walter Kreisky III, Lieutenant Bongo, and Jazz Viz. You guys are amazing. If you'd like to see our beautiful faces, you can catch a video version of many of our episodes at youtube.com/strandedpanda. Love you 3000, my friends.